Good evening, all of you. Namaskar, and once again, welcome to this event of Yoga Sutra, the workshop. And we will be continuing this enriching workshop of ours with Miss Shubha, who is a distinguished Sanskrit teacher holding a master's degree in Sanskrit and an MSc in Vedic Sciences. Most of you are already aware of her. Most of you have attended her workshop last time. It was just for those who did not. And to briefly recap of the session that we had last Wednesday, it was about the foundations of Maharishi Patanjali's teachings. We began with a beautiful recitation of the Shloka Yogena Chityasya, exploring its profound meaning and celebrating Patanjali's invaluable contributions. Miss Shubha led us through the first 4 sutras, providing insightful explanations and guiding us in an experiential meditation to understand the role of the observer, Drashta. Let me once again welcome Miss Shubha to this workshop, who will guide you through the next sutras of Patanjali. Please put your hands together for Miss Shubha.
We will again start this session with the gratitude prayer to Maharishi Patanjali. I will recite the shloka and you all can repeat. You can repeat after that. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarotam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. So this session I'll start with, last time we saw that Patanjali himself told that he has done this work of Yoga Sutra based on the previous works. So just to understand yoga better, we'll just look into the previous works where yoga is discussed. So this is from Maitrayani Upanishad. It says, Ekatvam prana manasor indriyanam tathaivacha sarva bhava parityago yoga ityabhidhiyate. That means the oneness of the prana, breath, manas, mind, and the indriyas, the sense organs. And also sarva bhava parityaga, that is disassociating with all identities, like I am a doctor, I am such a person. Those identities, disassociating from that. That is yoga. So Upanishads are very long back. We can't even trace how long back they are. In the Indian tradition, we believe that they are Anadi and Ananta. That is, they don't have a beginning, they don't have an end. They always exist. And this is Yoga Yajnavalkya. This also comes in the Upanishad category. Here he says, Yajnavalkya was a great rishi. He says, Jnanam yogatmakam vidhi yogaschashtanga samyutaha samyogo yoga ityuktaha jivatma paramatmanoho. You can see even he has told about Ashtanga Yoga, which Patanjali Maharshi, but in the second pada he discusses a lot about Ashtangas of yoga. That is mentioned even in the Yoga Yajnavalkya. This verse means that understand that the essence of knowledge is yoga, and this yoga is Ashtanga Samyudam. It has 8 limbs. And also he says samyoga, joining is also yoga. Joining of what? Jivatma Paramatmano, the individual soul and that thing which exists everywhere, which is all pervading. That the joining, union of those two is yoga. And then Agni Purana. Purana also is very long back, way before Patanjali. The Agni Puranam says, Brahma Prakashakam Jnanam Yogas Tatra Eka Chittata Chitta Vritti Nirodhascha Jiva Brahmatmanov Para. So Patanjali Maharshi defined yoga as Chitta Vritti Nirodha. You can see the exact same word here in the Purana. It says this, the knowledge which illuminates the Brahman, that one thing within us which is never changing, that knowledge, that is yoga, and that is, yoga is Eka Chittata, one-pointedness, focus, not mind getting scattered everywhere. And it is Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the cessation of all modifications of the mind, and also it is way beyond, it is beyond the Jiva Brahman. And Kathopanishad also describes yoga. It says, Yada Panchavatishtante Jnanani Manasa Saha Buddhishcha na Vicheshtate Tamahuhu Paramam Gatim. So when five, that is the five sense organs, are very stable, avatishtante, they are stable. Jnanani Manasa Saha. Jnana refers to the five Jnanendriyas, the ear, eyes, nose, tongue and skin. When they are well established along with the mind, Manasa Saha, Buddhishcha na Vicheshtate. The intellect is also stable, it is not wavering. So a wavering intellect is the one which does this overthinking, but here this state where the intellect is also stable, not wavering, that is called the ultimate state, Paramam Gati. Yam Yoga Miti Manyante, that is considered as yoga, and it is Thiram Indriya Dharanam, that is having stable sense organs. And Apramatas Tadabhati, in this state a person does not make mistakes. Yogo hi prabhava api ayav, that is this state of yoga, it gives rise to good things and it eliminates all the negative things. And in the last session somebody rightly pointed, I think you pointed out, that she felt when she was listening to the Yoga Sutras that it was similar to Bhagavad Gita. That is very true. Many things what Patanjali has told are that is there in the Bhagavad Gita. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So Arjuna is not wanting to fight the battle. So that time Krishna says, you do your work being in the state of yoga. That is Sangam, and you leave that attachment and do your work in the state of yoga. What is the state of yoga? Siddhi asiddhyoho samaha. So taking success and failure equally, that is samatvam yoga uchyate. That balanced state is called yoga. Again in the Bhagavad Gita you will find lots about yoga. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam. That is, an intelligent person, what he will do? He will leave out all that is of this world. That is not running away from the world, but giving up that identity. And he will leave out the sukrita, the results of good action, and dushkrita, the results of bad action. Both he won't get attached to any of that. Therefore, you get into that state of yoga, and he says, Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is dexterity in work. Doing your work skillfully is yoga. So there are many more references, but I will not take too much time on that. The Sutra tradition. What is this why is this called Patanjali Yoga Sutra? This kind of sutra tradition is very typical of India only. I have not seen this kind of thing in any other country. Sutras are short statements, aphorisms that capture so many things. So sutra is alpaksharam, asandigdham, saravat vishwato mukham, astobham, anavadyam cha, sutram sutravido viduhu. That is alpaksharam. It will have very less number of words. Asandigdham, there should be no confusion. When a person writes sutra, there should be no ambiguity. Saravat Vishwatomukham, it should capture the various meanings in a very concise way. And Astobham, there should be continuity in what the Sutrakara is trying to say. So he cannot make one sutra about some topic and another on other. There should be a continuity. Anavadyam, there should be no mistakes. This is called a sutra. So when there is a sutra, along with that comes the bhashya, that is commentary on the sutra. Since sutras are very short statements, to properly understand them, we need to read the bhashyas, the commentaries. What is a bhashya? Sutratho varnyate yatra vakyaihi sutranusaribhihi swapadani cha varnyante bhashyam bhashya vido viduhu. That is, these bhashyas, they describe the meaning of the sutra using sentences. So one sutra will be described using many sentences, and according to the viewpoint of the sutra, it will describe. And swapadani cha varnyanti, each word of the sutra is taken up and it is discussed in detail. This is called a bhashya. So in the for the yoga literature, we have these three main bhashyas. Vyasa bhashya is the most prominent one. Some people even say that this Vyasa bhashya was written by Maharshi Patanjali himself. So Yoga Sutras plus Vyasa bhashya is considered Yoga Shastra. It is such an important commentary. And King Bhoja's Rajamartanda is also a very prominent one. Vachaspati Mishra's Tattva Vaisharadi, it's actually a commentary on the Vyasa bhashya. And Vachaspati Mishra, he also says that Vyasa bhashya was written by none other than Maharshi Patanjali himself. So if you get the English translation of Vyasa bhashya, then you can read that. That will be very useful. And this yoga literature, this tradition is very rich. For more than 1600 years, people have been writing commentaries. So this is list of few of the commentaries in Sanskrit. But in English also many people are writing. In various other languages many people are writing. So this yoga literature is actually a very rich literature. Now we will do the Sutra Recitation. I will recite and you can repeat after me. Atha yoganushasanam yogaschitta vritti nirodhah tada drashtu swarupe sthanam vritti sarupyamittaratra vrittayah panchatayah klishta klishtaah pramana viparyaya vikalpa nidra smritayah pratyaksha anumana agama pramanani viparyayo mithya jnanam atadrupa pratishtham shabda jnananupati vastu shunyo vikalpah abhava pratyayalambana vrittir nidra anubhuta vishaya sampramoshah smritihi abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodhah तत्र स्थितौ यत्नोऽभ्यासः सतु दीर्घकाल नैरन्तर्य सत्कारासेवितो दृढभूमिः दृष्टानुश्रविक विषयवितृष्णस्य वशीकारसंज्ञा वैराग्यं तत्परं पुरुषख्यातेः गुणवैतृष्ण्यं So today I'll try to do till the sutra number 16, provided there is time. So first, just a recap of the 4 sutras that we did in the last session. Atha Yoga Anushasana. This word Atha is auspicious and also it means the subject matter. So the subject matter of this text is yoga. Anushasana means this work is done in consonance with the previous works. Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So next sutra, Patanjali defines what is yoga. Yoga is the cessation of all modifications of the mind. And then he says what happens in the state of yoga. In the state of yoga, drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. We become like the drashta in the true self. We get established in the true self. That is the self, that is the drashta, being an observer. And if we are not in the state of yoga, what happens? That is told in the 4th sutra. It says, if you are not in the state of yoga, then you are identified with the modifications of the mind. Vritti sarupyam itarat. Now we will go to the 5th sutra. Vrittayah panchatayah klishta aklishtaha. So there are 5 types of modifications of the mind. Inside the chitta there are lots of modifications, but they can be classified into 5 types. And each of the 5 types can be of the variation of klishta or aklishta. So each of these can be the klishta or aklishta. What are klishtas? Klishta variations of the modifications of the mind are of the rajas and tamas, having rajas and tamas. I will tell what that is. And aklishta is associated with the sattva guna. So for those of you who don't know what is sattva, rajas and tamas, sattva is a character, that is, it's a guna, it's a quality of serenity and calmness. It is a state of peace, it is very light, you feel serene, calm. These qualities of kindness, compassion, love, they all come under sattva guna. Rajoguna, rajas is the quality where a person is very active, overthinking, agitation, impulsiveness. These are all qualities of rajas. The motive in the case of Rajoguna is power and enjoyment. And tamas is a dull state, laziness, sluggishness, and ignorance. These all come under the tamas category. So klishtas are those which are of the rajas and tamas qualities. Aklishtas are sattva qualities. What the yoga shastra says is, first we have to move from the klishta to the aklishta, to that serene, calm state. But that is not the end. We should transcend that state also. Why? Because in the Vyasa Bhashya it says, Aklishta chidresu klishtaha. That is, in the state of aklishta also there will be small holes, and from those holes klishtas will come up. So ultimately we have to even transcend the state of aklishta. But for beginners we have to try to move from klishta to aklishta. So the five types of modifications of thought forms that is listed in this sutra, Maharshi Patanjali just lists them out. What are they? Pramana, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidra and Smriti. These are the 5 modifications of the mind. And in the subsequent sutras he will be telling what each one is. So first, Pramana. What is Pramana? Pratyaksha, Anumana, Agamaha, Pramana. Pramana is right knowledge, right perception. This can happen through Pratyaksha, that is, you are directly perceiving something through your senses. But that doesn't mean whatever you perceive through your senses directly is right knowledge. It can be wrong knowledge also. So it will be right knowledge unless there is no delusion. If there is delusion and if you perceive something wrongly through your senses, then that comes into Viparyaya, the next modification of the mind. So Pratyaksha is direct perception. Anumana is inference. That is, suppose I see smoke somewhere, then I infer that there is fire. So this Anumana also will be right, it will be Pramana, that is right knowledge, provided our reasoning is correct. And Agamaha means it is also called Apta Vakya, the words of a trustworthy person. In general, any trustworthy person whom you believe, their words when you take in, that is Pramana. But if you take the spiritual context, it can be even the scriptures. We can take the words of the scriptures also as Agama. Also the words of enlightened people, yogis, they will be telling something which is beyond our sensory perception. So their words also are considered Agama. Here a question will come, how do we know that this person is trustworthy? In the spiritual context, Swami Vivekananda has written a commentary on the Yoga Sutras. It is called Raja Yoga. In that, clearly Swami Vivekananda says that one quality is he should be selfish. He should not be selfless. And the next is there should be a way to verify what he says. If suppose the person comes and says, I see so many things in that realm, this realm, and if he says, only I can see, you all cannot see, then don't trust that person. He should say that I was able to see all this, and you can also see all this provided you do these steps which I did. Like how Patanjali is telling us, he has put down the steps. These steps if you follow, you can also reach the state where I have reached. But some people will say they would like to keep that control. So they will say only I can do, you are all common people, you can't do. If you come across such people, then don't trust. So these are the ways through which we receive right knowledge. The next one is, so this is what I said now, Viparyaya, that is wrong knowledge, wrong perception. Viparyayaha mithya jnanam, that is false knowledge. Atadrupa pratishtham. Tadrupa pratishtham means stationed in what it actually is. Atadrupa pratishtham means stationed in what it is not. So this happens when we are in a deluded state. Taking intoxicant substances also causes this viparyaya. But this is also a modification of the mind. Why Patanjali is telling right knowledge and wrong knowledge, two separate things. He could have just told knowledge or perception. Because if he just says knowledge, people will most likely think that only the right knowledge is a modification of the mind. But we saw that one of the qualities of a sutra is that asandigdham, there should be no scope for ambiguity. So in order to create that space where there is absolutely no scope for ambiguity. He has told right knowledge is also a modification of the mind, wrong knowledge is also a modification of the mind. So an example for viparyaya is, suppose you are walking on the sand, you see something like this glittering. I think with this light you can't see that glitter. So you see something glittering, you think that it is silver. Then either you go close to it and through your direct senses you realize that it is actually shell, not silver. Or someone who already knows will come and tell you. So initially it was viparyaya, but later it changed into pramana. Both are modifications of the mind. And the third one is vikalpa. Vikalpa is imagination. Patanjali says, Shabda Jnananupati. It just follows words. But Vastu Shunya. But there is no actual thing there. An example for vikalpa is when I say rabbit with horns. So there is no rabbit with horns. But I can put it in words. And when I say rabbit with horns, though it is not there in reality, maybe you get a picture like this in your mind. So it does cause a modification in the chitta. There is a verse like this in Sanskrit. Esha Vandhya Suto Yati Kha Pushpa Krita Shekharaha Mriga Trishnam Bhasi Snataha Shasha Shringa Dhanurdharaha. That is, this is full of vikalpa. A childless woman's son goes wearing the flower that is grown on the sky, and he takes bath in a mirage, and he's holding a bow made from the horns of a rabbit. So none of this exists, but still you are able to make sense when you read this, because it is a chitta vritti. So pramana is knowledge as it is. Viparyaya is knowledge as it is not. And vikalpa is knowledge of what is not there at all. So these three are the modifications of the mind. And the fourth one is nidra, sleep. Abhava pratyaya alambana vrittihi nidra. Now, why is Patanjali telling sleep is also a chitta vritti? Because you may think that, okay, yoga is chitta vritti nirodha, that is cessation of all the modifications of mind. When we sleep, we don't have any thoughts. When we are in deep sleep, that is not in the dream state, but in deep sleep, we don't have any modifications of the mind. Then that is also yoga. Why we have to do all these exercises? I just sleep. But so, in order to remove that concept, he has put this sutra. Nidra is also a vritti, and abhava pratyaya alambana. It takes shelter in a particular type of chitta vritti called abhava pratyaya. So this abhava pratyaya is a particular type of modification of the mind, that is, when it comes in, it covers the whole chitta and it doesn't allow other chitta vrittis to crop up when it is covering. So that is why we don't have thoughts during sleep, but when we get up, the chitta vrittis start coming in. So this abhava pratyaya is also a type of chitta vritti only. And also one other thing that the commentary says is, when I sleep, when I have a very nice sleep, and when I get up, this is a Sanskrit word, sukhamaham aswapsam. I will say, I had such a wonderful sleep. And if I did not have a good sleep, then I will say, dukkhamaham aswapsam. I did not have a good sleep at all. That means I am recollecting something. It was good sleep or bad sleep, I am recollecting. So it is possible to recollect only if there was some modification in the in the chitta vritti. If the chitta vritti has occurred, only then I can recollect. If there was no modification in the mind, then I can't even recollect. That is also considered as a modification of the mind. And the fifth one is smritihi, memory. What is memory? Patanjali says, anubhuta vishaya asampramoshaha. Sampramoshaha means letting go. Asampramoshaha means not letting go, holding it. Anubhuta vishaya, that is something which we have experienced. We are not letting it go. We are holding to it. That is smritihi, memory. So if you see all these five modifications, they can be of klishta or aklishta variation. So if the memory is very pleasant, it brings calmness, serenity, happiness in you, then it is aklishta smriti. If the memory is a bad one, which pulls you down, which brings anger or hatred or jealousy, then it is klishta smriti. Similarly, nidra. If the sleep was very deep, enriching, energizing, then it is aklishta nidra. If the sleep made you feel tired, you were restless, and the next day it is making you tired, then it is klishta nidra. Vikalpa, imagination, if it is an imagination which brings fear, that is, if you are imagining, oh, what if this happens, that happens, that kind of imagination, then it is klishta vikalpa, it is binding you. But the same imagination, when you do some nice visualizations, nice imaginations which are also creative work, they are all aklishta vikalpa. So all the modifications can be of klishta type or aklishta type. Now he tells about the tools through which you can bring that cessation of the chitta vrittis. That is abhyasa vairagyabhyam tan nirodha. So through abhyasa and vairagya you can stop the chitta vrittis. Abhyasa, it's not, if I translate it to just practice, it will not be correct, because there is an element of shraddha. I will tell about it later. And vairagya is that detachment. So even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has told exactly the same thing. Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. So he is telling to Arjuna, asamshayam, there is no doubt at all. Mahabahu is addressing Arjuna. Mano durnigraham chalam, this mind is always wavering and it's very difficult to control it. But abhyasena vairagyena cha grihyate, but you can control the mind through practice and through detachment. Now what Patanjali says we will see about abhyasa. Tatra sthitau yatnaha abhyasaha. So sthitihi means calm state of mind. Sthitau means in the calm state of mind, and yatnaha is trying. So constantly trying to be in a calm state of mind, that is abhyasa. And in the next sutra he says how you can strengthen your practice. Sato dirghakala nairantarya satkara asevitaha dridha bhumihi. So dridha bhumihi means making it firm, strong. You can make your abhyasa strong by doing it for dirghakala, doing it for a long period of time. Any practice that you do, maybe meditation or something, anything, you have to do it for a long period of time. You cannot expect result in just 1 or 2 days. Nairantarya, long period of time, but if you do it like once, if you say like I did this practice, I'm doing this practice from 2 years, but if I ask when did you do, if you say on the first day of 2022 and first day of 2024, then that is not abhyasa. You have to do continuously, every day. And satkara, satkara word is equal to shraddha. Indians will be able to understand this word shraddha. It is non-translatable, but I can explain it. There is no equivalent word in English. Shraddha is faith and conviction, faith in the practice, faith that this practice will liberate me. And it's not just faith, but also having that love towards the practice. You love to do that practice, not doing it forcefully. I have to do this, that, not that kind of thing, but with lot of love and respect and also faith, and doing it sincerely. That is Shraddha. So when a practice is done like this, then it becomes strong. So Dirgha Kala is for a long time, Nairantarya uninterruptedly, continuously need to do with faith and conviction. Asayitaha means when it is followed like this, then it becomes firmly grounded. The abhyasa is firmly grounded. And what is Vairagya? In this sutra, Patanjali says, what is Vairagya? Drishta anushravika vishaya vitrishnasya vashikara sangnya vairagyam. So, what we see and what we hear, getting detached from that thirst to get what we see and to get what we hear. Suppose I see something, I feel like I'm possessing it. But vitrishna means not having that kind of a thing. This, if I just see that in a very detached way, I can appreciate it, but I don't have that need to possess it. Also, anushravika, what you hear. Suppose a person comes and says, I went to this beautiful place, it was so nice. Then immediately we get the urge, I should also go there and experience it. So, but the Vishaya Vitrishna, that kind of coming out of that thirst to get what we see and also what we hear, that is Vairagya. And this word, Vashikara Sangnya, this Vashikara Sangnya is a technical word used in the yoga literature. There are 4 stages of Vairagya: Yatamanaha, Vyatirekaha, Ekendriyaha and Vashikaraha. Yatamanaha is a state where you listen to someone, you read some book and you understand, oh okay, some things here are impermanent, something here is permanent. You understand that there is a difference, there is something which is temporary, there is something which is permanent. So that phase of understanding, beginning to understand, that is Yatamanaha. Vyatirekaha is then you start contemplating, introspecting. Okay, where am I making the mistake of getting too much attached to something that is impermanent, and working on yourself. That state is Vyatirekaha. Ekendriyaha is you're more focused now. You're not pulled by the outer distractions, but you're more focused on what is happening inside. And to some extent, the person has detached. And Vashikaraha is the final state where the mind is totally detached from the various things that is happening outside. So here the word Vairagya, it is a quite misunderstood word. People think that Vairagya means a person should leave everything, all possessions, all relations, and he should go into the forest. That is not the thing. Vairagya, in the state of Vairagya, you can own things, but you will not allow the things to own you. That is the state of Vairagya, totally detached. You may possess everything. There are many examples in Indian history. Like for example, Janaka Maharaja. He was a king. Janaka is Rama's father-in-law. He was a king, but he is called a Rajarshi. Though he had all the luxuries, everything, he was very detached mentally. So that is the Vairagya. And the 16th sutra says, Tat Param Purusha Khyatehe Guna Vaitrishnam. So in the Vairagya also there are 2 levels. So this tells Previous Vairagya was about the lower level. This sutra says after that level there is a next level. So we'll see the two levels. Apara Vairagyam is the first level of Vairagyam, where the mind itself starts realizing. Say for example, I eat a sweet today, I gain happiness. It's not that I'm totally satisfied. The next day, that same sweet comes in front of me, again I feel like eating. So this is a habit pattern of the mind. One day we realize that, oh, I'm so stuck in this habit pattern, I need to come out of this. And you start coming out of this kind of habit patterns. That is Apara Vairagya. So coming from the things that are coming out mentally, from the things that are tying you up, that is Apara Vairagyam. But Para Vairagyam is when the person has total detachment from what is around him. Then he starts to see how the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, are functioning in him, and he starts to detach from that also. That is the higher state of Vairagyam. But the door to that Paravairagyam is Apara Vairagyam. Through this only we have to go there. When in the next session I will tell about the philosophy of yoga. That is, it follows the Sankhya philosophy. There you will understand what is Prakriti, Purusha, these three gunas. So when you understand that, then this sutra will become more clearer. But it's difficult because we are still not even in the Apara Vairagyam. Even I am not there. So it's difficult to actually exactly know what it is. But through Apta Vakya, that is through Patanjali's experience, what he has documented, through that only we have to understand now. But one day we will reach there.
Yes.
So there is this beautiful verse by a poet called Bhartrihari. He was a king, later he renounced everything. He has written a work called Vairagya Shatakam. He tells how important Vairagyam is. In that, this verse is a very nice one. I'll tell you the meaning. First I'll recite this verse. Bhoge roga bhayam kule chuti bhayam vitte nrupalad bhayam maune dainya bhayam bale ripu bhayam rupe jaraya bhayam shastre vada bhayam gune khala bhayam kaye kritantad bhayam sarvam vastu bhayanvitam bhuvi nrinam vairagyameva bhayam. So he says, in enjoyment there is this fear of roga, disease. So I want to enjoy food, I want to eat a lot, but there is the fear that my health will get upset. So there is fear in that. Kule chuti bhayam. I may be from a very good lineage. My ancestors are all great people like that. But even there is a fear that what if the next generation or somebody brings bad name to the lineage. Vitte nrupala bhayam. A person may have lot of wealth, but he will have the fear from the king. That is tax. In the current context, you can take it as tax. And mane dainya bhayam. I have a lot of self-esteem. Then I will have the fear that what if a situation occurs and I need to get down, I need to leave my self-esteem and go and take someone's help. Bale ripu bhayam. A person is very strong. He will have fear from an enemy. What if the enemy defeats me? That fear will be there. Rupe jaraya bhayam. A person is very beautiful. Even that person will have the fear of old age, because in old age the beauty is gone. And shastre vada bhayam. A person is very well versed. He will have fear that what if somebody argues with me and defeats me in the argument and proves that I don't know anything. That fear will be there. Gune khala bhayam. A person has very noble qualities, all good qualities. People tell you are such a noble person, that person will have the fear that what if a black mark comes on my character? That fear will be there. Kaye kritantat bhayam. In the body, we have this body, but we have the fear of death. When we are in the body, we will have fear of death. Sarvam vastu bhayanvitam. All things in this world are filled with fear. But there is only one thing where there is no fear, and that is vairagyam. Only in detachment there is no fear. That is this what this shloka says. Now we will do the practice. Like last time we will do, but I have added one more element. So you observe that like last time. First, you just see things around you. Don't get associated with it. Try to just see. Okay, there is a tripod stand here. There is a lamp here. That's it. Nothing more than that. Then I think Willem can play he will play this handpan during the meditation. And next you just close your eyes, focus on the body sensations, and don't get associated with them. Don't, if it's a pleasant sensation, don't get carried away with it. Wow, this is so nice, and don't go with it. And if it is a pain or some discomfort, don't think I must get rid of this. Don't have. Okay, there is a sensation. I'm just observing it. That is. And third, you try to be in a state where there are no thoughts, where there are no chitta vrittis, but definitely they will come up in some time. Few seconds maybe you will be in that state, but thoughts will start arising. But just observe the thoughts. Suppose a thought comes of, say, the samosa that is served after this, then you just don't get carried away by the thought, oh, I'm going to eat the samosa, the salivation starts. Okay, this thought of samosa is coming. Okay, like it, and you just see the thought from a distance, and it will just pass. If you start observing it, it will just pass. It will not stay for long. And last part is, for few minutes, for 2 minutes, I will give 2 minutes, but in that 2 minutes, how much ever you can, just think that you have no identities at all. You don't know from where you have come, you don't know your address, you don't know anything. For just 2 minutes, keep all that heaviness of all those identities, keep it aside, and just experience some lightness. And then of course you cannot keep it permanently outside, but for 2 minutes. That is what we are going to do in today's meditation. So I'll just put a bell sound for each stage.
Sorry, in the second and third, the eyes have to be closed?
First, only first you open and see, but in the second you close the eyes. See sensations in your body. Don't get associated with them. Try to be in the thoughtless state, but if thoughts arise, don't get carried away by them. Don't resist them also. Just observe them. For just 2 minutes, place all your identities aside. You don't know from where you came. You don't know your address. You don't have an email ID. You're just a blank. You're just totally blank. In this blank state, we can try the Aklishta Vikalpa. You can just create an image of how you wish your life to be. If you want, you can visualize that. Slowly you can open your eyes. Anybody wants to share their experience? Just like it. You were blank, without any identities. How did it feel?
Very calm. I have one question.
Yeah.
In meditation, any kind of sound is a disturbance. How can music, continuous music in the background help? I found it.
For some people, even I
Yeah.
prefer without music. So for some people, it helps.
Yeah, so I think it's the stage
Maybe.
of meditation.
For some people, music aids
Yeah.
them in
Yeah.
good meditation. But I am also like you. I don't like to have
Now,
music.
when we are sitting in a blank,
Mm.
there's music coming from that background. It's
Yeah.
so it was nothing
okay.
special.
Yeah.
It happens.
Some people, when you do it at home, you can just do it
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
any questions or any doubts or anything. So today we discussed about mainly the 5 types of modifications of the mind and the 2 tools to control the thought waves. Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa is, that is practice. You may ask what do I practice? Then that is told by Patanjali in the Sadhana Pada, the Ashtangas. But you can choose your practice, whatever you feel happy to do, which it's not forced upon you, but you love to do it yourself. That kind of a practice you can choose and do.
Is it a practice which brings you happiness or calmness? Or?
Yeah, calmness,
Okay.
which will help you to get a bit of at least dissociated from, like for example, too much we get too much identified sometimes. Suppose people tell that I am a very kind, very patient person. Then I feel I am very patient person and I get associated with that so much. Somebody comes and tells you are such a short-tempered person, then I cannot withstand it because I've got identified with that patience quality so much. So these are like pointers. When you get agitated, they are pointers that you have got associated too much with something. So you can do some meditation, trying to be in the blank state, that will help you to get disassociated. So it's not that you physically remove all the things, because abhyasa is also needed, not just vairagya. So abhyasa is also, it's basically mentally you get disassociated.
And how much of practice is required, like every day?
Depends on you. Later actually Patanjali will say that more intense the practice, more quickly you will get the result. But whatever you can in our schedule, busy schedule, if we do whatever we can, that is, I think, is good enough. We cannot sit like for 4 hours every day.
Every day
Yes.
without a break
Yes.
in the beginning is fine
Yes.
because it will automatically keep on increasing.
Correct.
And more than half an hour of sitting quietly is also not physically for us. It is not possible. It is difficult.
Yes.
So you have to get used to it.
Yeah.
So
Start small and then.
you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
20 minutes, half an hour, whatever is possible.
5 minutes.
What's the best time? Like you
Time.
the time.
Morning.
Actually,
5 o'clock. 9.
yeah. As soon as you wake up, it's easier to be in the blank state. Yeah.
Yes, I am in the blank state at that point.
Yeah. You're already in blank state, so it's yeah.
All of us, I think we have goals in our life, like
Yeah.
different goals. For me, it's like, for example, study or career or the culture. So how can Vairagya help to aid these goals?
So
Because-
having a goal is not wrong. It's okay to have a goal, but identifying too much with it, that is, only if I achieve this goal,
I'll be happy.
I'll be happy, or I am this person only if I achieve this goal. That should not be the thing. Because in that case, if the goal is not achieved, then it leads to a lot of disappointment. But this is my goal, I will work towards it. abhyasa is there, continuously you work. But at the same time have vairagya also, then that is the best state of mind.
So to have balance between those two,
Yeah,
abhyas and vairagya.
correct. So that is why Patanjali didn't just say vairagya, he also told abhyasa. I will recite and you can just repeat after me. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah.
Sarve santu niramayah.
Sarve santu niramayah.
Sarve bhadrani pashyantu.
Sarve bhadrani pashyantu.
Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet.
Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet.
Om Shanti
Shanti Shanti.
Once again, thank you all for coming for the second session. I hope I added some value to your time. Coming on a weekday in the evening like this, 1 hour, because you need to again go home and you have a working day tomorrow, but still you make this time to come here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.